Baba. Oh, you're a boy. Yes, you are, Puffy. Go get it. Go get it. Get it. Hey guys, we're back. Damn, these ladder steps are annoying. Once we get down to the lowest level, Seto is in some sort of underground waterway. He sees the cat from earlier and follows it, and finally he meets up with the girl again.
I know you. The boy who touched me.
It wasn't like that. I only meant to...
I know you're not a bad person. I can tell. Because he likes you.
Suddenly, the game remembers, shit, we need some sort of plot! The girl runs off, and since the door is locked, Seto and Sai must take the long way around. Remember this for later. After playing whack-a-mole with an unexplained boss... Seto and Sai finally make it outside and find themselves at a dam. We see the silver-haired girl is trapped in an elevator... and asks for our help. Since we, again, can't follow her, and again, remember this for later, we need to take the extremely long way around. Oh look, the game is slowing us down again. This area can take quite a bit of time to get through. It's full of long and varying paths that are only made longer with the rusted walkways. You have to move Seto slowly over it to avoid falling, but the bird enemies in this area are persistent and frustrating. It's difficult to hit them while your mobility is limited. Once we finally make it to the bottom, we go inside the dam. And now we're going to get some backstory for Crazy Chicken Man!
He isn't human, is he?
Princess, look at this! If you peer into this blue vial, you'll get a sparkly treat for your eyes. Please smile for me like you used to, Princess.
It looks like that girl in the crib has been dead for a long time.
See, it's parts like this that make me really annoyed at the game. Not because it's bad, no, it's actually because this part is rather compelling. And because of that, it makes it harder to forgive the rest of it. If it's just a bad game in entirety, you can just forget about it and move on. But because this part is actually good, it makes it all the harder to try and forgive the bad gameplay and the really terrible dialogue. Chicken Man throws you out of the room in anger, but the next time he sees you, he apologizes and gives you a chick plushie, which increases your inventory for some reason. I guess now is a good time as any to talk about the inventory system. You have a general item list which shows all the items you've bought or collected. There is only a small bento box looking actual inventory that you can access, and you need to play Tetris by turning the pieces so they fit properly. This by itself isn't bad, but wait! There's more! You need to leave space in it so that way you can collect mystery or memory items along the way. However, if the inventory is full when you try to pick it up, or the item is too big for the remaining slots, then you're screwed. You can't adjust the bento box inventory just anywhere either. You can only do this at save points. This makes exploring a tedious dance of explore, go to the save point, dump items, then explore again, rinse, and repeat. Having a limited inventory is not unfamiliar to survival games, but because you can't adjust it anywhere except the designated save points, it sucks. It just makes everything tedious. This is further emphasized when you are putting the box together. You can only select one item at a time, then adjust it to fit and go back to the main inventory again. You do this over and over again, and it sucks. It's designed so you need to manage your resources appropriately. It's totally unnecessary because there's no real difference between the weapons. You don't really have to put any thought into your loadout. You take the most powerful melee and projectile weapons and healing items, rinse and repeat. It seems like it was designed to try and see how you can fit as many things as possible in the pack, rather than focusing on the decision of which particular items to take with you. Instead, it becomes a puzzle game of how many mystery items can we fit before we have to go back to the save point. It's hard to believe that this game is forcing the player to slow down an already slow game. You have the slow-moving walkways, the endless hallways, the backtracking. Come on! You're not gaining anything from this is just padding! After getting a super high beam flashlight, Seto and Sai continue exploring until they come across Crow. Crow reveals that he's really a robot, and his power source is running out.
Oh yeah. That skull ring I gave you. You still carrying it around?
Yeah. I keep it in my locket.
That's good. That ring is proof of our friendship. Our friendship.
You know, you're the first real friend I ever had.
Wow! Way to honor PF's memory, you inconsiderate dick. Apparently, Sai can't find batteries either, and Crow dies. I actually felt really sad at this point. Again, like Chicken Man's story, this part is pretty good, minus the whole can't find a battery fiasco. Older Seto narrates some more. Seto and Sai find a radio, and when he turns it on, Seto finds out that there are other survivors in the world besides himself and the silver-haired girl. He promises that they will meet up one day. In this area, we fight robot enemies that are like clones of Crow. You can hear his voice actor providing the screams of pain they shout when you destroy them. Yikes. They manage to see the girl on a TV screen and hear a voice saying that glass cage will commence.
What does all this mean?
Oh no! The plot is trying to catch up with you, Seto! Sai, apparently having knowledge of this, tells Seto where to go. Apparently, a man named Shin is the one behind everything, and Sai knows who he is. Once they get to the top of the dam, Shin tries to murder our heroes with a giant crane. You know, that old story!
Any threat to the project must be eliminated.
We then need to backtrack to the cat cage again. Great, more backtracking.
Enter this code into that keypad. 1004. It's his birthday. He was always distant and cold on the surface. But he had a tender side, too.
Who?
It doesn't matter. Just enter the code already.
What the She knew the combination the whole time? So we just wasted several hours of gameplay for nothing? You bitch. Shin gets tired of your shit and he locks Seto and Sai in a part of the dam. Sai takes the time to explain to Seto what glass cage is and her part in it.
Using a machine they called Glass Cage, humans sent a signal around the world to try and trigger the latent empathy faculty in people's heads. This would enable everyone to naturally harmonize with one another.
After that, what happened?
Well, everybody was excited. Now that they could convey exactly what was in their hearts, all sorts of misunderstandings and ill will would vanish overnight. That's what they thought. The entire world was bubbling with hope. Everyone believed it was the dawn of a new era. They believed and believed and smiled themselves to sleep. But then, the next morning, no one woke up. And guess what? The first time around, I was the catalyst.
But, Sai, I don't get it. How did you end up as the catalyst?
Don't look at me. I have no idea.
I think your plot is leaking.
They plugged all these cords into my head, made me take strange medicines. It was all very weird. I'm telling you, in all my days, I'd never felt such intense pain. It happened every day. More experiments. They didn't care at all how I felt. But there was this guy. He had a heart. Sometimes he'd slip me chocolates and candy. He'd even stop by and ask me if I was doing okay. And also, he thanked me nicely.
I see. So you and that guy, well, you were like friends.
Well, by Crow's definition anyway. Seto follows a cat through a small opening, escaping the locked area. We fight another floating mask head.
I do not have to answer to you. Any threat to the project must be eliminated.
What do these things have to do with Shin anyway? Well, you whack it until it vanishes as usual, and Shin shows himself, giving the typical villain speech.
Why are you reviving Glass Cage? What are you trying to do?
You don't need to know that.
Please, tell me the truth. If what happened last time...
Words can be frustrating, troubling things, Sai. I thought you, of all people, would understand.
Wow, his design is boring. In the laboratory, Seto has to explore several rooms that seem really odd to have in a research lab. One is a room that is slowly taking away your health with poison as you try to escape more Daleks, and the other... I hate this room. This is one of my least favorite parts of the game, and considering everything else we've dealt with up to this point, that's impressive. It's relatively simple. The sensors will set the alarm off if you move through them, and then you have to fight a group of robot enemies before starting all over again. This would be relatively simple, except the controls for this game suck. The way the sensors are placed, if Seto isn't moving when the sensor goes over him, he won't set off the alarm. Fine. Okay. However, it took me several times of failing to figure out what the heck the problem was. Apparently, the Wiimote is so sensitive that if you breathe and lift your shoulders while you're holding the remote, it will make Seto move, thus setting off the alarm. It took me forever to figure this out, too. I spent a good 20 minutes at this part. After that extremely unfun part, we finally make it to Shin. One typical villain anime speech later, and we get the first of 2 boss battles with him. What's odd when you fight Shin for the first time is that the attacks he's throwing at you suggest this is going to be a tennis match, where you hit his own attacks back at him to cause damage. Nope! You need to use a bow and arrow or some other projectile weapon to hit him. That's it! If you didn't pack one, oh well, you have to start over. Sai stops Seto from killing Shin, and he manages to escape. Seto lets the girl out of the machine, but Glass Cage manages to start anyway. Somehow. We are then magically teleported to Tokyo Tower. The one time we are jump cutted to the next scene. Nice! But wait, it's a trap! There is a save point here, but the merchant won't appear. So, if you don't have enough weapons or items, you're gonna have to redo that first fight again. Now, I've waited until now to talk about the broken weapon system this game has, because the absolute worst example happened as I was climbing the tower to reach Shin. Weapons will break completely at random, and in order to replace them, you need to go back to the save points. You cannot damage enemies at all if you don't have a weapon equipped, and broken weapons barely do any damage. It's bad enough when 1 breaks, but 2... Yeah, it forced me to go all the way back down to the bottom of the tower to get new weapons. Take that, momentum! Because the weapon breaking system is random, you never know just when it's gonna happen, and thus it makes exploring annoying as hell. I would have preferred some kind of usage or wear out system to give you some sort of clue as to when the weapon's going to break. As Seto climbs the tower, he hears messages of encouragement from his dead friends, and after fighting a bunch more Daleks, he finally gets to face Shin one more time.
Communication through speech is meaningless. You will never comprehend this fact.
You're right. I don't understand you at all!
The battle with Shin is exactly the same, except he gets one more powerful move that's really easy to avoid. And finally, he is defeated. Really quickly. Shin gives the same wimpy antagonist speech about how no one loved him.
And at the heart of all those negative thoughts was always me. Me. Whatever empathy may have been felt for others was quickly trampled by people's self-interest. Even my parents turned against me. They saw me as a monster.
Shin, the truth is that I love you.
But why couldn't I sense that emotion?
Really, dude? You couldn't tell she was in love with you? Wow. Just... wow. And apparently the power of love is enough to make Shin abandon his world destruction plan. Well, he and Sai disappear into the afterlife, I guess, leaving Seto and the girl behind. We get one final older Seto moment as he wraps up the story, recounting his travels with the girl. Except...
And after countless summers, one day, I was all alone again. A peaceful land. At the end of everything, I was truly and utterly alone.
What? 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 Are you fucking kidding me? That's all the game was leading to? It was leading to... this? I thought this was supposed to emphasize the friendships and the journey Seto was on, and the lessons he takes to heart, not this whiny emo bullshit. Nice to see that the game discards any sense of character growth Seto has. The little he has. I trudged through this game, and what payoff does it give? None.
Oh wow, look, the moon is so full.
Yeah, it sure is.
Oh, no. Don't you try to gloss this over with some happy-go-lucky bullshit ending scene. The damage is done. Wait. What's this scene even leading to, anyway?
In all this time, I don't think I ever got your name.
Ren.
By the way, if you look in the manual that comes with this game, her name is right there! Nice reveal, jackasses. If all the gameplay bullshit wasn't enough, this story is terrible. Oh my god, there are so many plot holes. Why did the machine that was going to make people's thoughts communicate with one another make them fall asleep instead, therefore leading to a slow death? How did Sai's body end up at the hotel if she was the catalyst for the previous glass cage? There's nothing to suggest that glass cage happened at the hotel. How did the malicious thought entities come to life? Were they a side effect of glass cage? If so, it's never touched upon. How did the blue mainframe crystal thingies allow Seto to communicate with spirits? How did Shin find Ren? Was she a part of the previous experiment? We don't know anything about her. We've been chasing this girl all through the game and we know literally nothing about her, except she likes cats, and she can't really draw, and she can sort of sing. Speaking of which, why are cats the only creatures in the game to not be aggressive enemies? How long ago did Glass Cage 1 happen? It's never made clear. Why is there a giant crane, and why does Shin feel the need to use it to kill us? Where did the giant naked mole rat come from?
What is that? That freaky thing? Come on, y'all. Let the girl sing.
If this was just a bad game, it would be easy to forgive and forget. But there's just something about this game that I can't ignore, and it's been plaguing me forever and ever. It's taken me forever to realize just what it is about this game that makes me not be able to ignore it. This game jerks you around and does just barely enough to keep you somewhat interested in the story, though your patience for the inept gameplay may just turn you off quicker than it did for me. About halfway through this game, I was no longer playing it to finish the story. I was playing it just so I could say that I completed it. The acting is awful for the most part. I mean, this game isn't easy to make sound great, but the directing for the English version is pretty bad, as actors take unnecessary pauses or don't emote enough to sound like real human beings.
Hey, look. It's his flashlight.
You touched me.
I touched her.
You touched me.
Yeah, I touched you. I don't know. I haven't decided. Yeah. Together we'll be fine. They look unnatural to me. You think so? I think they're cute. No, they're scary. What is so amusing? Do you find that funny?
The gameplay sucks completely, between the terrible controls, shitty inventory system, and the broken weapon fiascos. But some of the characters are relatively interesting, like the Chicken Man or Crow. There are some good parts to its visuals, but it's not enough to carry the game. It doesn't use the good parts to its best potential, and instead it falls flat. It's a real shame to see such a waste of potential. If you're really curious about the story to this game, I would recommend looking up some of the memory item stories to find. Those are the only kinds of stories from this game that actually are decently written. In particular, the Torn Picture story and the story of the 7 Colored Bells. Those are the only two that I actually went out of my way to try and find and complete them. If you, after all this, still really want to look up this game, I really wouldn't. I've pretty much shown the majority of the game already, and other than the 2 stories I've already recommended, there really isn't much to offer from this game. It's really sad. There was a lot of potential, but overall, I really can't recommend this game. I'm Calluna, and thanks for tuning into Screenshots. See ya!